If you're looking for a video on how to overseed in the fall, check out one of our prior videos. And if instead you're looking for how you take it from 2 or 3 weeks germinated on, then this is a good video for you. 3 weeks ago, we overseeded this lawn, which was a struggling hybrid Bermuda lawn, and it had a lot of areas of shade. We talked to you about overseeding it with perennial rye in the places where the hybrid Bermuda was, and then doing things to revive that hybrid Bermuda for next year. And then seeding it with different varieties of creeping fescue like chewings and red fescue in the shade areas. And we hope that that can work to make it where we have a continuous lawn that you can't really tell we're growing a different lawn in the shade. It germinated very quickly. It actually germinated in about 7 days. We were having warm temperatures. We were watering a lot, keeping that seed moist when the sun was out. Came up real fast. 2 weeks after seeding, it was mowed for the first time by Alex, kind of high because on the first time you don't want to traumatize the new lawn too much. And then the first thing you do is you go around and you look where the seed didn't come up good, and you reseed in those spots and then try to figure out why it didn't come up good. And we think an inability to keep that seed moist. So in other words, the coverage of the irrigation wasn't that great in those spots. You can see in this lawn, the spots that didn't come up were almost all because of insufficient water and a lot less water compared to the areas that came up. A point of concern that we can see by overseeding. Okay, where didn't it come up? Must be we've got a little bit of a problem there. We're not getting enough water. Well, that'll help us in the spring and the summer too. How we do that is a little bit hard to tell you exactly because it's different in every system. Mainly we want to deliver more water to those spots, either with bigger nozzles or more sprinklers or sprinkler with an undercut. A lot of different ways to do it. A lot of times you'll see dry spots right in front of a sprinkler, and there are some with an undercut that you can buy, so that delivers water right at the sprinkler head. The idea is we want water everywhere, and we want the right amount of water everywhere, and so a lot of times you have to experiment with nozzles, experiment with sprinkler heads, experiment with the time on your controller, or if you're watering with a hose, how long you water. Difficult to tell you exactly what to do other than look at it, concentrate on it, focus on it, figure out how you can get that water as good as possible, and how the lawn germinates is telling you how successful you are in that effort. So the maintenance on this is very similar to any lawn right now in the beginning stages of fall. Once you get into winter, it's a little different because not much is growing, but right now we've germinated the seed, or we're still in the process of germinating seed. About 2 weeks after, assuming everything came up good, we mow it for the first time, and then because we're still having pretty warm temperatures, we'll need to continue to mow it once a week. Try to mow it different directions so we don't cause ruts. That's very common. Either after the first or second mowing, we'll do fertilization with a soil building product like Nourish Biosol. Get that lawn as strong as possible, as green as possible. Even cool season grass goes into a little bit of a semi-dormancy. So we're trying to hype it up as much as we can now, and we'll make sure it's getting the proper water. And that'll be a little different from the way we were watering when we were trying to germinate the seed. Once we think the seed is all germinated, then we go back to whatever is appropriate for your lawn. Here in Fresno, on November 1, we can only water once a week, which would probably be fine. Usually I say by December 1, you can turn off the irrigation, usually till about March 1, because we have some moisture in the air and we have some rain. When we seeded it, we did a heavy application of blend. We went right over the blend with Penetrate Liquid Biotiller, and we didn't use a top dressing. Both Penetrate Liquid Biotiller and blend help seeds germinate faster and more of them to germinate. We're going to continue about once a month to do the Penetrate Liquid Biotiller because we're trying to dramatically improve this Bermuda from last year where it just didn't do that well. That is a product we're going to use through the dormant season. If you're in an area with snow, or then everything will be so dormant, the monthly Penetrate Liquid Biotiller applications wouldn't help. And in a lot of these climates where things go more dormant than here, I would recommend we just wait until spring before we start using the Penetrate Liquid Biotiller. We're going to do it once a month, and then hopefully we go into spring with completely improved conditions in the soil, allowing this Bermuda to thrive and the shade tolerant lawn that we planted around the Bermuda to thrive. The key to your lawn thriving is the health of your soil, and we think the health of your soil is defined by beneficial microbial life in the soil, and that's the whole point of Penetrate Liquid Biotiller. It's the whole point of Blend, which has Optimized Nourish Biosol Maximize in it. We create a lively soil where your lawn and other plants can thrive without having to constantly fight pests and diseases. The other thing that you might want to do is, I like to stay away from any type of products that aren't good for the soil, but we are coming up in our area to a time where if you have a chronic weed problem that you can't solve by frequent mowing, proper watering, proper fertilization of the soil and the lawn, that's the first thing to try. Do everything right, get the lawn growing. We want to create optimal competition for those weeds. If the lawn is healthy and you're taking care of it properly, usually you won't have a weed problem. Weeds usually come in when your lawn isn't healthy. But let's say you've made your lawn as healthy as you can. The least intrusive for soil, if we absolutely have to treat with a chemical, is Dimension, which is a chemical pre-emergent, and we don't want to use that anytime before we do any kind of seeding, or it'll keep the seeds from germinating. Around January 15th to February 1 in our area is the right time to apply it, and it works on a lot of weeds, including crabgrass and oxalis and spurge, and it's pretty effective. I prefer it to trying to spray to kill those weeds once they've come up, so this is an attempt to keep them from coming up, so they go dormant in the winter, and then we use that pre-emergent to try to keep them from coming up when it warms up. This lawn has a little bit of oxalis in it. If we really want to try to get rid of it, that'd probably be, we'd use a pre-emergent around January 15th. That's another milestone coming up, is you might choose to use a pre-emergent in colder parts of the country. That'd be a little later into the year. So that's the formula that we've followed so far on this backyard lawn. You can see it's looking pretty good, except for some spots we were doing other work in the yard, and so we trampled it in spots. We replaced the whole concrete patio that was all infiltrated with tree roots, and it was causing it to buckle. If you're interested in how we replaced a concrete patio because of tree root damage, we'll be posting that one soon, so subscribe and stay tuned. We'll show you that process. We will continue to follow this lawn and show you, so make sure you subscribe and comment if you want to see how this comes out and how our shady areas merge into our Bermuda areas, where we seeded both perennial rye over Bermuda and different types of fescue over shady non-Bermuda because nothing was growing there.